Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iori Folari. Hope you had a great weekend. Much work to do this week, this work week, and I'm very happy to have friends of the house, Yemi Makwadero and Majid Jamil. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, viewers.
Indeed, Yemi, everybody knows Yemi, governance strategy expert and executive editor of Upstart Media. That's Majid Jamil. Now, quickly, the PDP convention. That's where I thought, we'd want to be. As you know, they met and are strategizing. The whole purpose of the convention, the non-elective convention that they held, was to strategize now that they've sorted out their legal troubles. First of all, extending McCarthy's tenure till December, but then perhaps more importantly, maybe equally as importantly, strategizing for 2019. And they say it can be done. It's totally within our grasp. The country is in so much trouble. The economy is, so much down there that, look, they just need a change. And if given a chance, we heard eminent voices there from the PDP say that if given a chance, it can be done. So there was an upbeat enthusiasm, it would appear, at the convention, which led former President Jonathan to actually go and say, we did well, actually. Never mind that we didn't plug all the loopholes, corruption loopholes, but we did well. Gentlemen, how much of a threat, and let me start with you. Okay, I was looking at Majid, but I'm not going to start with Majid, body deflection. Let me come over to Yemi. How worried do you think APC as a party should be now that PDP is talking this strong? They seem to be saying they're united, and there are reports that they are having secret talks with National Assembly members of the APC to cross over to their side.
Well, I'm sure if that question goes to the APC, they will say no cause for alarm. But as a neutral observer of the polity, there is no doubt that the convention of Saturday must have sent a message to the APC that the equation, may change, and that PDP is on its way to revival. Which for me, it's good for the polity, it's good for the country, because in the past 2.5 years, there has been an absolute absence of any credible opposition to the APC. And as humans, chances are you need such oppositions to keep you on your toes, so that complacency doesn't set in. And that is why I think that the greatest beneficiary of the renaissance, so to speak, that seems to be taking place in PDP is actually the Nigerian people. We need options. Unfortunately, we seem to be limited to APC and PDP for now. As we go on in the program, we may begin to look at the show that took place on Saturday, which to me was more of a celebration of the victory at the Supreme Court for the McCarthy faction of the PDP, which actually consists of the nucleus, of the PDP, and also to announce their readiness for the 2019 electoral contest. But it also threw up a great number of issues of concern, because I read the statement of the national chairman, the caretaker chairman of the party, and he owned up, he admitted openly that it is not yet Uhuru in terms of reconciliation, because he said 4 or 5 attempts were actually made by some people to stop that convention, even though he didn't elaborate. But that's an indication that this is just the beginning of a revival. Hopefully, they will see it through.
Most political observers will agree that, look, it's desirable to have a vibrant opposition in any administration. Indeed, arguably, maybe not even arguably, APC was just that in the administration before that of President Muhammadu Buhari. Now that the PDP seems to be gearing up and showing that it's still very much in it, and also bearing in mind there are silent whispers about the possible emergence of yet another force. Nobody wants to be more particular about it, but say keep it hovering in there. Don't be surprised if at all, indeed, there is another force. But without prejudice to that, just looking at it on the ground now, how worried do you think? There's essentially the same question I asked Yemi. How worried or concerned do you think APC should be, given that even those who have been supportive of APC in recent times have got a bit impatient?
Yeah, I can't agree any less with Yemi's submission, because it's a victory for Nigerians that we now have a viral opposition from the PDP.
You think the word applies?
Yeah.
It is virile.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because
so it's not to be sneered. It's not to be sneered at all.
Yeah. In the last 2.5 years, APC has been carrying on as if, I mean, it's the only party in Nigeria, and now it has also taken 2.5 years after the legal tussle for the PDP to recover from its electoral, from the shock of the electoral defeat of 2015. And coupled with the success, quote and unquote, it achieved with the Supreme Court judgment that affirmed McCarthy as the authentic caretaker chairperson of the party. So they used that opportunity to celebrate, quote and unquote, at the non-elective convention.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, it was, you could see them dancing and happy. But then I'll be quick to remind them that when they had the knife, the pot, and the yam, they couldn't prepare a meal for Nigerians. So now, like somebody said yesterday.
But President Jonathan said
yeah,
they did well.
Yeah, fine. No, I'm just trying to remind them.
Yeah.
That in 2015, they had the knife, the pot, the yam, and all the ingredients to prepare a good meal.
Yes.
They couldn't.
And Nigerians chose not to stay in their kitchen, so to speak.
That is it. But now, going to 2019, they don't even have a pot, no stove, no gas cooker, nothing. They are going to scramble to start afresh, and they want to, but they are very enthusiastic, and I'm very happy about that. They are very enthusiastic. They are very confident that, in fact, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum was very emphatic. He said they are coming back to their Aso Rock, to our, quote unquote, our Aso Rock in 2019. That he is going to chase. They are going to chase Buhari away. So it's a very good development.
As you said, they're hustling.
Yeah,
they don't have an option. They've got to hustle their way back into power. The story that nobody wanted, well, scratch all of that. This whole matter about wooing influential assemblymen or legislators, how significant do you think that is?
That is the point that should give the APC a very, very serious headache. Because even as it were, the National Assembly members, though predominantly APC, but their actions, body language, is that of the opposition.
And that's a problem right there.
Because it's a serious problem.
It's thought that the targets of the PDP in these houses, and particularly in the National Assembly, are those, as you just said, nominal APC legislators that have issues with their nominal party, APC.
Yeah.
And so they are...
I'm sorry, Yori, the election, the rerun election in Osun is also an eye-opener to what could happen. Adeleke was of the APC, but because he lost the ticket, changed to PDP overnight, and he won 9 local governments out of 10. And we have a situation that for the first time in the history of the Nigerian legislature, we have an opposition member being, in the name of Ekremadu, being the deputy Senate president in an APC-controlled Senate. So, and if you recall how the present Senate president emerged with an overwhelming support majority, especially from the opposition PDP. He got most of his support from the PDP. So those factors are still there. And given what we have seen in the newspapers today, that the PDP is willing to woo, as a matter of fact, key principal stakeholders of the APC might not be ruled out, not only senators, because there are even talks about an Atiku Okonjo-Iweala or Nuhu Ribadu El-Rufai, Nuhu Ribadu Okonjo-Iweala a ticket for the opposition party. But all those ones are on the card. So
yes,
that should give the APC a very, very serious
cause for concern. So they can't afford to be complacent. It's interesting, he mentioned the Deputy Senate President there, Ekweremadu, who is also being touted as one of the names
as VP.
Indeed, as VP for 2019. As he said, slightly awkward, not totally unheard of, but slightly awkward that the Deputy Senate President is in the opposition, whereas it is the APC that is in power. And even the Senate President himself has had his, shall we say, rambunctiousness with his party. But it is what it is. In recent times, you know, you have to say that, okay, it does look as if APC is still in power. So it's got quite complex. Very, very dynamic. There is much power in the National Assembly, and now they are wooing it. They are wooing such power. PDP says it's wooing such power. Should APC be concerned about some people feeling disenfranchised within its own fold? In other words, does it have to rethink its strategy?
Well, you see, ultimately, the politicians are very adept, you know, at calculations. And
Professor Samuel calls it some political calculus.
Yes, they are very adept. They will move to where they have a brightest chance of, you know, winning an election. Never mind
ideological leanings?
No, because one of the things that I think, one of the positives of the revamp, so to speak, of the PDP, for me, is that we may begin to see a more responsible and responsive Senate and House of Representatives. Now, before now, up till now, there really isn't any difference between a PDP senator and an APC senator. Especially at the Senate has emerged as a grand court, especially in this dispensation, where it's really difficult to see any difference. Most of the decisions were actually unanimously taken. And you find a situation where it's difficult to really imagine that the party that produced the executive is the same party that dominates in the National Assembly. Yeah. But right now, up to 2019, it's now going to be a battle of survival. Now, a common interest made the senators, irrespective of their political leaning, to decide to be unanimous in their decisions, particularly when it relates to demands or requests or steps taken by the executive. But now, they know that they may begin to take decisions as to what platform are they going to contest, you know, election or re-election into the Senate, or those who choose to go to the governorship, like we're finding in Anambra now. We have a serving senator who has been cleared to participate in PDP primaries in Anambra State. So I think ultimately it might not be as easy as it was for APC to bring in disgruntled PDP members in 2014 and 2015 for PDP this time around, because we already know what PDP can offer. And like I said, it is not yet Uhuru. We have a two-term governor of Bauchi State, Isa Yuguda, with his supporters in a different party. I think it's the Green Party. You also have elements of PDP who have gone ahead to found the Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, APDA. Yeah. So you still have, and then at that convention, there was a conspicuous absence of the Cross River State governor, Professor Ben Ayadi. No reason was given why he wasn't there. So, and I can also tell you, knowing Nigerian politicians, that by the time, in another 4 months, when the contestation for offices in PDP begins, that is when you will be able to test whether indeed PDP is on its way, you know, to a renaissance. Because already we've heard that the party will zone the chairmanship to the south, and then the presidential ticket to the north. But you have the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum saying that he was the next president from 2019, and we know that he's not from the north. And then we also know contestations that led to this crisis in the first place, who becomes the chairman. So all of that will come back into play again. And PDP may not be in a position that APC was in 2014, 2015, where people were able to bury their differences because they just had one goal, to unseat the incumbent government. So it's left for us to see how it goes. But I think ultimately that it is a good thing for Nigerian politics that PDP is on its way back.
How significant do you think it is, Majid, that the president is, out of the country? Great news. He's coming back imminently. As a matter of fact, according to the president, he's ready to come back, but he's learned to reverse things a bit. I obey orders now rather than issue them. And even though I'm ready myself, I'm obeying the orders to chill a bit. His absence and all of this going on, how significant do you think that will be in terms of the effectiveness of the APC to, as it were, muster an appropriate kind of defense to stem all this enthusiasm coming from PDP that, it needs to be taken seriously? Clearly, as Yemi said at the very, very beginning, if I had asked my first question of an APC person, it probably would have been, what do they take us for? That kind of a thing. But we're trying to find out, from impartial observers here, what their read is. The president not being home to coordinate all of this, is it insignificant or significant?
I don't think it is really significant whether the president is in or out, especially given the news on the update of the health status of the president that is coming in every day. I mean, we started from pictures, we started from visits without pictures. Now we had visits with pictures. Now the ultimate one yesterday, visit with pictures and visuals and audio.
And audio.
So, and it sent jitters. Those who... That
there's nobody on life support.
Yeah, those who initially said the president was on life support.
Tubes sticking out of their arms, out of their nose.
That is it. I mean, I saw a response from them yesterday saying that, well, those video clips were clubbed together, were cut and uncut, and so what have you. But then we had the president's book. And after that, there was a flyer from the APC chairman yesterday that Buhari might run for 2019. And
the word was might.
Yeah, might. And you see, politicians, the way they think, even with a Buhari abroad, he will score more than 80% in the entire North.
Okay. It's interesting you bring that up,
yeah.
Because this
and that would depend on, you see a game of delay and hide and seek in the emergence of the presidential candidates of the two parties. As we move towards, they want to see who presents, who comes first with the candidate. So you will see PDP playing a game of let's wait for APC first.
And see what they do.
Yeah, and in APC, there are some people waiting in the wings to see whether Buhari would actually go in for 2019. So it's going to be a very, very delicate game and a very anxious one, for that matter, towards 2019. And the PDP was very clever in giving McCarthy the 4 months extension, because there could have been serious fights at that non-elective convention on that. So the 4 months was to enable them actually re-strategize and actually bring some. Buruju Kashamu group were absent, even Sheriff group. So, and they are groups you cannot wish away, especially in the Southwest. And the Southwest is very key. And that's why they have ordered for the dissolution of the executives in 7 states, especially Lagos, Ogun, Kwara, Borno, and Adamawa. those are states that are very, very critical to whatever happens. And you also, I mean, he mentioned the absence of the cross-river governor. And, you know, there is a lukewarm attitude also from the governor of Bayelsa, Seriake Dixon. And you know his position has been for them to allow Sheriff to go on. He has been unnecessarily quiet. So to say. So those calculations in the next 4 months, from now up until December, we'll see if indeed they have the reconciliation they are talking about, and whether they have the tools to actually fight the APC come 2019.
In all of that, do you think it's it's something of a fly in the ointment of all of these carefully laid plans? The ROI Youth Consultative Forum and its leader, Yedima Shetima. Now, the latest statement, just annoying so many people, including elders in the North, saying that the North was not going to support any person who was and this I sort of remembered when Majid said that, look, wherever President Buhari is, he will easily clear 80% of the North. And you have groups like that saying that nobody's going to vote for anybody who is beyond 60 in the coming election. Of course, there have been immediate slap-downs of that position. Say, who are you to speak for the North? But what do you think of? It's part of the calculus, isn't it?
It is, and it is just starting. So many more will come in. And I think until the president comes back, and I think that is itself is going to be a massive event. The arrival of the president is going to be played up so much that they will know that the lion, you know, has roared back to life, because it's all. The
presidents have been away for about 100 days now.
Yeah,
about 100 days.
About 100 days.
About 100 days now. Yeah. So for me, really, I'm beginning to enjoy what is happening. It's widening the political space. The president contesting in 2019, I have my concerns about that. But all of this will depend on what happens between now and, say, December 2018. And you know, in politics, even one day is a very, very long time.
Indeed.
So I expect that a lot of development will still come up. And I've already seen the PDP drawing the battle line. They've been very kind to the acting president before now, but since yesterday, they've also started beaming their searchlights on the acting president with possibly with the mindset that if this guy continues this way and it emerges as a candidate, it might be an issue for us. So why should we keep focusing on his principle and overlook a potential successor? Now the acting president, who they have praised to high heavens, is now being referred to as a lame duck.
Suddenly you're beginning to hear that.
So it's all about politics. And
he's not commander-in-chief, even if he's president. And you've heard things like, why doesn't he sit at the executive council meetings in the president's chair if he's acting president? So as you said, every little bit that can be thrown into the fray is it would appear that opposition is not losing any opportunity. But it remains to be seen, and there's the issue, is there not, of whether or not President Buhari will decide to run again in 2019. He might not. Mandela declined. Mandela said, just one term. You know, now that it's on the ground, somebody else can continue. So we don't know how that's going to go. And if that should happen, of course, all sorts of names are going to be thrown into the ring. Even as we speak, I do believe that if you look far enough, you'll see a name like Atiku, for instance, as being interested. Of course, I don't think it's politically correct for him to come out and say so, but everybody sees the body language and the recent the championing of restructuring and all of that. Hang on here. What's going on? Give me your thoughts, Majid.
You know, most of them are respecting they are giving their due respect to the president by not coming out to say much now because of his state of health. They are saying, well, the president is recuperating, so it will be unfair to make comments on succession plans when he is still there. Now we need to pray for him. Those are the kind of things you hear. But then from their body language, from the statements they have been making, I mean, you see a situation where the gladiators for 2019 are already positioning. And like I said, it's going to be very critical. When the president comes back, depending on how fit he is, but then if you look at the communication between the president and the acting president, it's been seamless. I mean, the way the acting president has been holding forth has been wonderful. And I think there are even indications. The
president has reportedly even asked the acting president to go ahead and reshuffle the cabinet if he deems it fit.
Yes.
He's leaving the decision to him. Go ahead and swear in those guys that are the ministers that have been
they have been sworn in to
give
them portfolio.
Ministers are not been given portfolio.
That is it. No, they have been sworn in.
They've been sworn in.
It's just for them to be given
portfolio.
So, but I think.
But by the president saying that, look, if you deem it fit, go ahead and shake up the cabinet.
That is it. I want to believe those are part of the things the acting president discussed with the president a couple of weeks ago when he went to see him in UK. I mean, that short trip.
So sorry for interrupting. Let me bring in Mr. George. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to Majid and the room.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, it's laughable to hear the statements Jonathan made yesterday and the PDP's effort to say that they want to come back. It shows how much politicians in this country take people for a ride. Do they think we are fools? What about the loot that is all over the newspapers? The average person cannot even put together the amount of money that Diziani Alice Mandeke alone has allegedly looted. And they are talking about coming back. Coming back to where? After 16 years of doing nothing and taking everything from Nigeria, they want to come and do what? There will be nothing to loot again. As for the other issue of APC legislators in National Assembly, moving to another party, we all know that Saraki and his gang, they have never been in APC, including Atiku. When Atiku lost the presidential primaries of APC, we all saw that he did not even campaign with the presidential team. And he started with his restructuring campaign in a way to discredit the government so that people can think he's an alternative. But I can tell you, Nigerians have gone further than what these politicians think we are. If you ask the average man on the street, he may not have a job, but he has his intellect, and they can reason very well. Let them wait and come and state us in that 2019. We know who is who. As far as I am concerned, there is yet no other person that can do what Buhari is doing for this country. None of them is interested in curing corruption. And corruption is our main problem. Those places have come out to say, I want to fight corruption.
Okay.
And they want to come and rule. It will not work.
So, Mr. George, you're saying that it's going to be a hard sell to Nigerians, PDP saying it's ready to come back.
If you just forget that, Uncle Yori, because it will not happen.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Thank you very much for calling in. Okay, stay with us. We'll go on a break, be right back and continue with this conversation. Welcome back. The PDP, the main opposition party, it has been in quite some disarray, but now things are sorted. They have their legal problems behind them, and now they say that they're strategizing to come back in 2019, and that they're not joking, that they think it's a viable option. Our last caller, Mr. George, just before we went on break, had said that that's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. But looking at it with detachment for a moment, in Nigeria, maybe everywhere, but particularly here, it costs a phenomenal amount to engage yourself in elections. And if PDP has ideas of coming back, and it's not an insignificant part of the whole strategy. Money is not an insignificant part of the whole strategy. Are we sure that PDP, the way it is today, has the resources, the necessary wherewithal to mount such a comeback? That just crossed my mind.
I said in my initial comment that when they had the knife, the pot, the yam, and the ingredients, they couldn't prepare the meal. I was referring to funding. I was referring to resources. It takes huge resources to fund a presidential campaign. Huge, and they know it. I can imagine how much was spent on the transformation agenda, which was the vehicle. It was the vehicle they used to propagate Jonathan's 2015 campaign. It was humongous. Now they are only left with Wike, Akwa Ibom, and probably Delta, and that's why they are smart enough to bring James Ibori into the convention planning committee, which I think is a very, very tactical error on their part. But then, because even Okowa will be very careful to release the funds of Delta to fund the campaign, and it will come to a time where the people of Rivers will ask questions. And I know the guy in Akwa Ibom is a banker. Udom Emmanuel is a very, very smart person.
So there might not
they
be...
They can't even go to
exactly.
Cross Rivers, Professor Ayade. So where the funding will come from, the whole funds available to the governor, to the chairman of the of the PDP Governors Forum, Fauci. It's not up to what the local government alone generates. So they can't even get money from there.
Yet Governor Fauci actually has presidential ambitions.
And he has presidential ambitions.
Femi in Surulere, thank you very much for holding on. Please go ahead now.
Okay, I want to say that this is not an alternative opposition. There is not opposition to this present government because that particular then falls. Okay, so what is that PDP is not the opposition that will come. It's just because what else that is no longer there, that is fraudulent. So we are going to get another opposition. It's not free. That name is called in Nigeria. We are going to get another, basically. But if you are looking at PDP as the next opposition, if you are not there.
All right.
So
all right then.
Not only that, if I pray that God gives Buhari good health, this is unfair. Even if it's unfair, we will vote for him because 70% of those voted for him, they believe in him.
Indeed. Okay, but if you say you can't, well, I guess he was saying he couldn't conceive of PDP as an opposition. That if there was going to be an opposition, it wasn't going to be PDP, if I heard him right. The line wasn't the best. I wish I lost him, but I was going to ask what his thoughts were as to, we have to have some sort of an opposition, shouldn't we? So what was he thinking? But I didn't get the chance. But coming back to the whole matter of deep pocket, in fact, the deepest of pockets necessary, and for, this kind of an objective that the PDP has set for itself, and whether or not they had the resources amongst themselves.
It's unfortunate, really, the way and manner state resources are deployed, by political parties for election. But that's the unfortunate scenario in Nigeria. We cannot run away from it. And I want to align with Majid's submission that the capacity of PDP to muster the kind of funds they are used to spending on elections has been greatly diminished. There is absolutely no contest about that. But as far as what the last caller said, I want to quickly chip in that is actually the greatest albatross hanging over PDP. Don't forget that PDP was in power between 1999 and 2015. And the unending revelations about how the country had been fleeced, by participants, in those regimes, Nigerians will not forget all of that very quickly. And that is why PDP will need to do a great deal more for Nigerians, the voters, to begin to see them as anything close to an alternative to the current
well, it's good you think about it like that, because, Majid, there are those who think that, look, the Nigerian audience, the electorate, were pretty fickle, and that, quite frankly, I asked about ideology the other time among the political parties, and you said scant ideology, if any. So even with the people itself, do you think the commitment is such that it doesn't matter if you bring money from the other side, they will sneer at it and say, no, we know what we're doing? Are you sure about that?
The electorate in Nigeria is such predictable.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Let me just quickly ask forgiveness from our comrade Okoroafo. I should have put you on earlier. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Compliments of the good morning, gentlemen in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Honestly speaking, the vibration of PDP in the airwaves and on the pages of newspaper is not yet guru for the party, because the main fracas that led to the faction upon factions in the local government, state, and national level yet to be settled. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, like one of our guests just said, that the man from the NGM, the institute said, because if the PDP themselves now, they have not settled themselves within these 4 months that they said they should go on, let me call it reset or settlement, almost. If they don't do that, the vibration of that last today is not yet true. If PDP wants to bounce back and the campaign vividly in Abuja over the weekend, they should put their house in order. Say no to impunity, say no to this party slogan, and it must be there. The ruling party APC should study the outcome of the Abuja Convention, because I tell you what happened there. Now, as the ruling party APC, it's good for us to sit down and even Nigeria themselves to study which ones are which way do we follow. Country 19, but the party is that PDP, they have a lot to do. Internal democracy is not yet settled in the party. I think we saw what happened in Kenya over the week after the election. They did the election on Tuesday. They announced the result on Friday. You saw the gap. Now you saw what happened before the announcement of the election. So that is why, let me put it this. I know I'm talking your time. I was expecting Odojinga to do what? To play that game the man in Ghana played. Because the man in Ghana played the game, he had his own features. He announced his own figure before the real election. But Odinga didn't put that. They waited to destruction. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant day in Abuja.
Thank you, comrade. Yeah, so going back to the question, even if these resources are there, the overwhelming majority with which the Buhari administration, was swept into office, that's because they were disenchanted. People were disenchanted. People wanted a change. And I'm not using the word change as a political slogan. People just wanted something different from what we had been doing before. It's also fair to say that since then, I've mentioned this before, even diehard supporters have begun to get impatient.
Yeah.
All of this probably will be playing into, the objectives of the PDP. But when money is now factored into the equation, are you sure that the existing administration has a sufficient grasp on the minds of the people by its conduct and by its performance, so that they will look away from anybody else that is not of that fold, saying that, look, this is money?
Most Nigerians have forgotten that the 16 years of misrule by the PDP cannot be corrected in just 2.5 years. And for those who actually go out there to vote, I mean the Iyalojas, the Okada riders, those who actually decide, those who actually vote, unlike those of us who come here to speak grammar, quote and unquote, and on election day we sit down and watch those who vote. I mean, those are the guys who take decisions, and they are the hardest hits by the economic crunch. So to them, they would wish that a PDP comes back so that the loot, when their thought is that when those guys loot, yes, at least they get,
it trickles down.
It trickles down.
Which is a very unfortunate way of thinking, but that's the way it is.
It is unfortunate, but that is the truth. You see, so it is only a few Nigerians that feels that, well, if you lock the taps and the looting is restricted, then we can have money to do a lot more of infrastructure. Arabeshola, for example, in Osun State, has done a fantastic job in terms of infrastructure.
Yeah, but this is explaining the advances that have been made in these difficult times.
That is it.
But as you said, the people at the bottom of the pyramid,
they are saying you can't be doing infrastructure without stomach infrastructure.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Ishak, and sorry for keeping you waiting.
It's all right, Mr. Harry. Good morning.
Good morning.
How was the weekend?
Good
morning to your guest.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Mr. Akawayama, I'm calling from Jos. Mr. Harry, PDP has done a disservice to this nation. If they're thinking of coming back to power in 2019, I think they should first appeal to their members to first return the looted funds, the looted money, the Commonwealth of Nigeria they looted. They should first return it to Nigerians and apologize. Then we'll think of whether we will forgive them or not. They should not take Nigeria for granted. That is one. And I even like the scenario, what is happening. It will even ginger and even wake APC up from their slumber. You think APC to have gone to sleep? It will be 2 years out of 4 years, well, they've done fairly in the area of fighting corruption, but we are yet to see people being prosecuted. Yes, in the area of security, they've done well in fighting terrorism. Those of us that are living in this part of the country, the terrorism has gone down, but yet the fight against terrorism is gradually slowing down as well. The economy needs to improve. The inflation, every Nigerian is going through a lot of suffering. I think what is happening to PDP now, we challenge the APC to know it's not yet Uhuru. That 2019, if they did not put their structure in place, 2019, they may not find it easy because we voted the PDP out simply because PDP has wasted Nigerian excess crude accounts, depleted their foreign reserve, and celebrate corruption. But APC choose to sit up. What is happening to PDP is even good for Nigerian democracy. It will help to challenge the party in center. You see what happened in Osun State, the younger brother to Adeleke, they come from APC within short time and emerged as a senator. This is to tell you Nigerians don't mind about party. They will vote for individuals. That is my take. Have a wonderful day. Indeed.
Thank you very much for calling in with it, Ishak, saying that it's a very, very tall order in his book for the PDP to think of coming back. In fact, they should first of all, contrive to just refund all the money that was looted under the extensive reign over the affairs of Nigeria. Okay, they probably will be saying, look, it's a new page, it's a new day.
Really, rebranding. There is a committee by Dokpesi. They came out to say, we apologize. PDP misbehaved. But we are about to turn a new leaf.
Okay, so
but where is Dokpesi?
Dokpesi
is in APDA.
Exactly.
Now, the rebranding has to really, really start. Or it's already late in the day. Really, I don't see PDP presenting a formidable opposition to APC in 2019. Let me just say that expressly. But I'm concerned about the outcome of all of this for the people. If APC gets, a walkover in 2019, will they put enough zeal in governance to ensure that the people benefit? Will impunity also not set in? That is why I'm a bit excited that PDP is at least ruffling, some feathers now. And I think that by the time election approaches, the political propagandists will come up and remind all of us of what has been done and what was not done by both parties. And at that point, Nigerians can take a decision whether they want to go back to where they're coming from or they want to stay with the status quo. Yes.
Okay, Mayomi, calling in from Apapa. Good morning.
And let me just good morning, Yori, and the two guests in the house.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, I just want to contribute my own quota. I can see PDP as a political front. So they are like a prodigal son. I'm not a politician precisely. So when you look at them, you seek for apology, we should accept the apology. And besides, look at the APC precisely. After the death of the Supreme Court, they stood firmly to make sure that there is some peace in the country. So let us look at it. If you look at it precisely, I'm not condemning them. They are not prepared. You see, that's why they are getting it wrong. Look at PDP then. There you see Rufai.
Sorry, Miami, the prodigal son, that is PDP, right? Prodigal
Yes,
son.
Yeah.
And where you brought that analogy from, the whole purpose was to accept the prodigal son back.
Yes.
So you're saying that it's possible that Nigeria might just see them as the prodigal son, reformed,
Yes.
and it's going to be better than before?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
I just wanted to get that very clear. Thank you very much for calling in. I just wanted to get that very, very clear that, you know, this is the way certainly some people are seeing
That's
it.
the point I was trying to make, that some Nigerians would see them as, they call it quote-unquote, Buje Budanu. That's what some people call them. That that now they have gone, they have realized their mistakes, now they are back. Let's give them some. Like Jonathan said, we did well, but we could have done better in terms of fighting corruption.
Of course, it's been slammed left, right, and center by just about everybody, of substance.
I don't know what,
and even without substance.
I don't know what they could have done with Desianim. That is now Desianim, for example, is now established. I mean, there is a court order that actually confiscated a property worth $37 million in Banana. So at least we can speak about that. In US, she has a $1.7 billion dollar suit on her neck. In UK, she has another $1.2 billion dollar suit too. So, I mean,
so what kind of prodigal son that the Nigerians will now overlook? I guess that's the question for Nigerians to answer. It's possible to see it that way, but then is that the way you want to see it? It's up to you. Yeah. John, calling in from Abuja, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yomi, I guess.
Thank you for calling.
You see, PDP will come back and win because in 1 year, APC have divided this country. You can imagine PDP ruled this country for 16 years. We are living as people. APC came and divided this country. What is the worst corruption that appointing everybody from their place? That's the worst corruption on the earth.
John, excuse me, John, didn't APC sort of unite the country in its hatred for corruption, as it were, and saying that, look, do something?
No, you don't know what is going on because...
Okay, tell me.
It is because the government in power, they cannot know who have stolen until they leave.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Continue, please.
I'm telling you that until this government leaves, you will not know how people have stolen this government. They've taken to the federal government. He's still 300 feet. Until this government is going to have stolen. So you cannot say the party people, I know the same people who came from PDP.
Okay, thank you very much for that call. I was going to ask for his bottom line as a result, but was that apparent to you?
He said PDP would come back because APC has failed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Divided the country.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I suggested that, how about uniting this one where everybody is united against corruption, I think he disagreed with that.
So he said until this government leaves, you will now say that is when you will see how many people have stolen under the APC government. So that's exactly the point I'm making. There are millions of Johns like that feels that all this fight against corruption is bullshit. It's better we go back.
Even the Senate president has said that he's not particularly enamored of the whole methodology by which we are going. That what we should do is focus more on, did he say preventive?
Rather than institutions.
The system
that would prevent corruption rather than the fight
exactly
against the ones, or rather to try to retrieve the ones that have been taken.
And he's a high-ranking member of the ruling party.
And so the same way they have been trying to stop the person who is fighting the corruption from giving him the powers that he needed to fight the corruption.
Exactly. Well, gentlemen, we're interesting sort of mix of ideas as to the outcome of this non-elective convention and the plans of the PDP to come back into reckoning, you know, in the eyes of Nigerians. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yemi Makpadirun,
thank you.
You know, governance and strategy expert, and Majid Jamil, a journalist and a political commentator. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Okay, that's our program. Join us tomorrow, please, for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.